Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Pannone. Guys, I'm back in studio. I was remote Friday the first time, but I'm happy to be back here. We got a lot to talk about today. NBA All-Star Weekend is wrapped up. Nations Faceoff. USA downs their neighbors up north. The Cleveland Rockers potentially back. SNL 50th anniversary. I didn't get a chance to watch it. Jack's going to fill us in. And then also another edition of What the Is That? This one courtesy of Jack. Guys, how you doing? Happy Monday, everybody. We started talking about the show, pre-show, I should say, about how just horrible this winter has been. Nick, you said barbaric, and I laughed, but I think that's a great term to use.
This is to the point now. And like I would say generally, I'm a pretty dramatic person. Like I like to live in the extremes. I like to exaggerate. It's kind of part of my character. But this is to the point now where, I mean, what are we doing here? We're mid-February. February only has 28 days. So we're really, I think you could call this now on February 17th, late February. I didn't leave the house all weekend. That's no exaggeration. My car was in the same spot. I parked it when I returned home from work on Friday when I started up this morning. This is just, what are we doing? I mean, like, I'm telling Cam, I'm like, this is supposed to be the peak of our lives. You know, mid-20s, we're supposed to be out, you know, doing things. The other we were hunkered in. I could barely open my back door to let the dog out because it snowed so much. It didn't stop all weekend. This is just too much now.
Yeah, a lot of people say you just have to get to March. No, I subscribe to you have to get to April because
we know better.
March doesn't mean anything. I know it's the official beginning of spring, St. Patrick's Day. You expect it to get warmer? No, it'll be late March snows. You have to get to April, and until you really start feeling better about your life and yourself, that's probably right around May.
I think there's enough fun distractions in March, though, to keep you, because it's a little bit like when you're walking into the office, but you're thinking about your March Madness picks. It's a little bit easier than when you're just walking into the office with the snow coming into your face.
When's opening day?
Opening day for the sport, it's coming in. I think it's like late March,
18th or something.
Yeah. Because now they just go play 2 games in the middle of nowhere before the season starts. 2 weeks before every other team plays for some reason. But the best way to describe this winter comes from a former NFL player who the Cleveland Browns were thinking about drafting, and his name was C.J. Spiller, running back. I believe went to Clemson. I could be wrong about that.
You're right.
And when he was coming out, they asked him about Cleveland, and he said, "It's cold in Cleveland. That's all I got." And C.J., you weren't wrong, brother.
Wasn't the show called "It's Hot in Cleveland"?
Yeah, Betty White.
Yeah.
Shout out to Betty.
Well, it's definitely not hot in Cleveland. It's cold in Cleveland.
It is cold.
Well, it was warm in the Bay Area, and that's where the NBA All-Star Weekend was just this past weekend. Yesterday, we got the All-Star Game, but we'll start with the three-point contest. Tyler Hero gets the win. Darius Garland makes it to the finals. He had a very good first round. Buddy Hield had the best first round. Outside of that, guys, they were throwing up some bricks.
Yeah.
Nobody was shooting that rock well, except Buddy Hield that first round, who almost had the single record. I think he tied Steph Curry's 31. And then the second half, DG fell off, and it was all Tyler Hero.
I mean, it was an excruciating weekend for the association, and I say that as a fan of basketball and a fan of the sport. Like, you got absolutely dumpstered by the NHL. You got absolutely dumpstered by Saturday Night Live on a Sunday. I think the whole part of Saturday Night Live is that it was Saturday, but everybody was tweeting about it last night. I watched both nights. I even tuned in a little bit Friday night to the celebrity game before I fell asleep and took a nap. I mean, it was a brutal weekend for the NBA. Saturday, like, you had the Spurs little scandal in the skills challenge where they were just
what was that?
They were just throwing the basketballs away.
That's Chris Paul to a T, bro.
Yeah, and Wemby fell on the sword for that. And then the 3-point contest was a flop. Nobody will come this time next year. Nobody will ever remember that Tyler Hero won it. We'll all be Googling who won it last year. And then the dunk contest. Thank God for Mac McClung. And we talked about it all last week that they wheel him out there like a circus animal, and he was the only thing that saved it. John Morant and Giannis, like, it kind of got them off their couch, and then Giannis already changed his mind. So like the NBA All-Star Weekend, we could just throw it in the garbage.
Wait, like, so I know horrible. I saw Giannis. John tweeted that, and Giannis said, "If you're in it, I'm in it." He already went back on it.
Giannis said his phone got hacked.
He said his phone got hacked.
So he's already out.
His agent said, "Brother, you're not doing that."
Yeah, he's already out. So, I mean, it was horrible. And then last night, I another thing that I kind of said all throughout the week. was that, I didn't care to learn about the format. I was like, I'm just going to, watch it in real time and learn like everybody else. I still don't get it. I still couldn't tell you guys what I even watched. It was more like, we had officially lost the plot when Mr. Beast came out with $100,000 at half court. They pulled some random kid out of the stands and trying to shoot threes against Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard couldn't hit a three either. It looked like Saturday night. They're like in Mr. Beast's ear. They're like, we got to cut to commercial. We got to cut to. He's like, the NBA is going to kick us off. Someone needs to make a three. And by some act of God, the kid made the three. And at that moment, all the mascots were like at half court dancing around. At that moment, I realized we have completely lost the plot here.
Let me ask, was Dame in any other events on Saturday night besides this?
He did the 3-point contest.
And he was,
he was not good.
Game.
Okay, that debunked the theory that I was going to present. So never mind, I pass.
He also said that he's retired from Saturday night events, so he's not doing the 3-point contest anymore either. And he was trying to defend his back-to-back 3-point championship, fell short of that, and retired, kind of on the spot. So the NBA is in a world of hurt.
And
this weekend was horrible.
As a guy who's not a big NBA guy, so hand up in the air, I did not watch 1 second of NBA All-Star events this past weekend. Mac
missed
McClung.
Nothing.
Yeah, no, I missed nothing. But Mac McClung, to my understanding, doesn't actually play in the NBA. He just
Correct.
He gets unfrozen. So this happened again.
Yeah.
How many? And I saw he played 5 minutes in the NBA this year. There has to be some cutoff to be in the dunk contest, right?
I mean, the thing is, though, he's
the reason is because nobody wants to do it.
No one wants to do it. I mean,
is it injury or is just
No,
is there are they running out of cool dunks to do?
I think that's it. They had Andre Jackson Jr. and Stephon Castle, who are like, polarizing-ish young player, like athletic.
Castle's the shooting guard on the Spurs.
On the Spurs,
right?
yeah. So
okay,
like,
I know that is. Yeah.
Athletic young players that really, unless you follow the league, you probably don't know. But like, exciting enough guys. And I mean, they came out and they were doing like the worst dunks that you had ever seen in your life. So like Mac McClung, at least, like, he jumped over Ikea. That was exciting. He jumped over Mobley. That was exciting. Like, honestly, next year, especially if Giannis and John Morant are already screwing around and going back on their word, saying that they're not sure that they're going to do it, next year, I would just let Mac McClung go out, do 5 dunks, everybody gets excited, and then go the hell home. Let's not pretend like this is anything more than what it is. Mac McClung's the only guy that wants to take it even halfway seriously. I know the narrative around Jack, like, no offense, but like the narrative around casuals are that he shouldn't even be participating because he, is not an NBA player. I at least give the dude credit because he at least halfway takes it seriously. Let him compete against these YouTubers and Instagram guys that throw down crazy dunks.
I agree.
And that's at least better than whatever we're trying to pretend with Andre Jackson Jr. and these guys that like no one else that even participated in it took it seriously. And these are NBA guys. So like just let him do his 5 dunks and be done with it.
We're saving what the fuck is that for our last segment, but it truly could have been this whole All-Star experience. The Mr. Beast halftime show, whatever the hell that was a complete mess. Jimmy was super awkward. The kid was awkward, which whatever. It's a kid coming on to stage probably for his first time. But first of all, I don't know if you guys noticed, when Damian Lillard was shooting the threes, the cameraman didn't have it on the bucket.
No,
so you
not
couldn't
at
even
all.
see if it went in.
No,
Jimmy was just cringing, trying to either get more time, or when they said, dude, we got to wrap this up. Then he brings over Jay to come talk to him. It was a complete mess.
Yeah.
Draymond Green.
He was trying to get Shaq from this. He was like, Mr. Beast is like, Shaq, come on over. Shaq's like, I'm not getting up for this. So they ended up getting Kenny the Jet Smith over there to talk to this. It was just a complete.
And you had like, his name's like Jess or something on YouTube, who was one of the judges.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about this before we wrap this up. Draymond Green filling in for the TNT crew, obviously, because they were the GMs of the teams for the All-Star game, basically completely shit on this format, said it's horrible, said players can't get records anymore, which whatever. But then Chuck came out and said, hey, he hated what Draymond said. He said the reason that they have to do this and experiment with these formats is because y'all generation fucked it up. You don't care anymore like we did back in the 80s and 90s.
Fair. However, when Draymond Green is the voice of reason, that's how you know that you're in a lot of trouble. Like when this is the same guy that's punched people into practice. This is the same guy that has it out for, via nut kick for pretty much any other small forward or power forward or center in the game. So when he's the one that starts making sense, you're in trouble. And I get that it's easy to point fingers, especially Charles Barkley, and that's kind of both of their bits, is they're both kind of the heels. But like, it's not Draymond's fault in particular that it sucks. The generation in general has let this down big time, but you can't even put this weekend on the players. Like, the format was a complete flop. And when we talked about Mr. Beast, what we didn't talk about is they did something similar every single break, and I shut it off after the Mr. Beast one and after Draymond popped off.
It was miserable.
I'm like, I'm done. I literally went in bed and I just scrolled on TikTok for the whole rest of the night, but I was checking in on Twitter, and they kept stopping the game to keep doing these side acts like this Mr. Beast 3-point shootout, and like the game it wasn't over till 11 o'clock on a Sunday. Like, that's not on the players. Like, the format was horrible.
Well, this is courtesy of Reddit NBA. Shout out them. 42 minutes of actual basketball was played in the 3-hour All-Star game. The intro with ads, 30 minutes. Pre-game talk, 10 minutes. Game 1, Kenny versus Chuck, 12 minutes. Mr. Beast Challenge, 5 minutes. Game 2, Shaq vs. Rising Stars, 16 minutes. Music performance, 6 minutes. Inside the NBA Tribute, 9 minutes. Finally, at Game 3, 14 minutes. Post-game, 6 minutes. Analyst desk game time, 22 minutes. Ads, 80 minutes. Just 42 minutes of actual basketball. And you wonder why it flopped. I don't think it's a mystery. And I actually said that was the last thing we were talking about before we take a break, but I want to talk about this. LeBron James, I got a little bit of a problem. You just announced as the day that you're not sitting, or you're going to be sitting out the game. And then if you saw the picture, people were making fun of him because everybody was in their uniform. Yep. He was in the center in street clothes. I don't know. Your guys thought somebody else could have took that spot.
I have a theory on that, actually, because he wasn't alone. Giannis, which we knew Giannis was going to be out, but then Anthony Edwards also didn't play, and LeBron didn't play. So you're without LeBron James, you're without Anthony Edwards and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Honestly, 3 of the top 10 players in the league right now are not participating in the NBA All-Star game. And my tinfoil hat on this is LeBron's no dummy. This is this was 20 straight All-Star games for LeBron. This would have been 21. Something tells me he knew or had talked to someone that said that this whole night is going to be a massive embarrassment. The talk shows tomorrow morning are going to be ripping this to shreds. Don't be a part of it. Don't be a part of it. If you want to rest your ankle, if you want to rest your foot, tonight's the night to do it. Like, don't be a part of this one. This one's going to be a black eye for the league. It's going to be a black eye for the game. And that's why LeBron never even put the jersey on last night. Yeah. And that's, that kind of speaks volumes. I think that was an informed decision that he decided to kind of pull last minute. That's the theory that I'm going to run with, at least.
I have one final thought / question for you guys also on the All-Star Game weekend for the NBA. So you guys were asking a bit about the format and where it came from, and I haven't really seen this put out basically anywhere, but they just copied the homework of the NHL All-Star Game. That's exactly what the NHL All-Star Game does. It's the 2 divisions in the Eastern Conference play for 10 minutes, then the 2 in the Western Conference for 10 minutes, and then the champions play for the final 10 minutes, and it fills up like a normal hockey game, basically. But the thing that the NHL did with the same format that has the same issues of multiple breaks coming throughout is they just had Tate McRae play during one intermission and 21 Pilots play during the other intermission. And that was it. They got the hell out of there and didn't make it way longer. I didn't know that the NBA had all these little intermissions. That seems like a huge issue to me, is that they kept on doing this over and over again.
And the players hated it. Like, the players were talking about after, like, you can't just keep stopping the action like that. And the other piece of it, too, was that it would have made more sense if the rosters had some sort of breakdown. Like, there was like the older players and then the international guys, but somehow Donovan Mitchell got factored in with the international guy. Like, none of it made a lick of sense from start to finish. The Bay Area got robbed. Like, San Francisco is a great basketball town. We know that here in Cleveland. The Warrior fans are crazy. They got robbed because this weekend was such a flop for the league.
Didn't the G League beat the NBA players in something also?
No. They lost in the first round to Team Chuck.
Oh, okay. I saw somewhere on Twitter that they beat someone. Never mind then.
No,
I relinquished my statement.
Well, the whole weekend was an absolute disaster.
It was horrible.
What wasn't a disaster is Team USA in the 4 Nations Faceoff. We got to take a break when we get back. Jack's going to give us the laydown of just how they whooped those neighbors up north. Suck it, Justin Trudeau. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone. Before we get into the ass whooping that USA delivered their neighbors up north, I got to tell you how we're presented by Fairway Ford Ohio every day, especially today. Fairway Ford Ohio is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the state of Ohio. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s as well as Super Duty trucks, and I promise you they will not be beat on price by any other Ford dealers. Do not let a short drive to Canfield prevent you from saving thousands, yes, that's thousands of dollars on your new truck. Fairway Ford is the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, lowest pricing, and the same hometown level of service. Visit fairwayfordohio.com. That's fairwayfordohio.com. I wish I had a brand new Fairway Ford truck for this weather. I'm coming all the way from Hudson, 45 minutes in my Mazda 3, which is great. But I'll tell you what, it'd be a lot safer and a lot smoother if I had a Fairway Ford truck. Jack, tell us about USA's butt whooping that they put to the neighbors up north.
And what a night it was Saturday night in Montreal, deep in the Bell Center. The United States of America takes down the Canadians 3-1 in your building. You boo our anthem. Guess what happens? 10 seconds into the game, 3 of your guys get their asses kicked. The Bash brothers come out of hiding. Matthew and Brady Tkachuk come out, lace them, punches down. I was going to use a different term that I cannot use. They come in, throw the knuckles around, and let me tell you guys, it was just a show by the Americans all the way through. Connor McDavid comes out, scores a very nice goal early, blew by Zach Werenski through the middle, came down, was like, oh, are the Canadians going to do it? Like, they're going to come out, they booed the anthem, they're just going to roll America, bad night for America, our sport, whatever. And no, the Americans came right back out and fought all night long. And like I said about the Finland game, guys, it's one thing in a sport like football or hockey where it's a physical sport to beat your opponent. It's another thing to kick the living shit out of them over 60 minutes, or I forget how long NFL games are, but the exact same thing applies. And it started in the defensive zone for the United States. Jacob Slavin and Adam Fox, that deep pair, locking up sticks through the middle, and the United States got it done. Guys, it's not big hockey, guys. Was it cool for you guys to see America take down Canada like this?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I'll be the first. I don't know jack shit about hockey, but I respect the fuck out of it because not even 10 seconds in, you drop the sticks and you're just going at it, and the refs don't give a fuck. All
That's
the other
hockey,
players just back out. They say, let these guys just duke it out, and then they were laying punches. I respect the hell out of it.
So what was the backstory with that? Like how does the puck drop and then 2 seconds later we're throwing hands?
So if you guys know these brothers, the Tkachuk brothers, Matthew and Brady, so their dad was an American as well. He was like a power forward, like stronger player, and he was a fighter also. So their dad actually, when they played Canada, I think it was 1996, maybe it was an international tournament, he came out and dropped the gloves right away and like got the boys fired up. Walt Tkachuk, Keith Tkachuk. So moving forward, his sons now, Matthew and Brady, it was a bit of that, but guys, I don't think you can mention it without thinking that the national anthem booing had something to do with it. I think absolutely the anthem gets booed. Those guys gets riled up. The Tkachuk brothers are guys who, no secret, they're fighters. They'll go out and throw hands for their team, for their country. One out, boom, they lay the wood, and that's how it starts.
I love hearing that it's like a little bit of a legacy play then, that like,
totally.
Pops did it, like, I'm going to do it. That's pretty cool.
They said they had a group chat about it before the game too, like, hey, we're going to go out there and do it. And
so
they knew before they put on their
they knew.
They were throwing some hands.
Well, I think they also knew,
favorite.
they probably also knew that the anthem was going to get booed when the game started, and I think you want to try and do something to get your mentals back, like, as a team. Like, hockey is a very team-centric sport when it comes to the mentals of what you're fighting constantly. Like, you don't really, obviously you bank on your star players, but it's not the same as you see in other sports. Like, it really does need to be 1 through 20 every single night if you're going to win. It's like, hey, like, let's try and win the building back in our heads. Like, let's get back into it, and boom. And I don't know. Now it moves to, if we play them again Tuesday, Canada's not guaranteed to get in the championship game. Canada needs to win in regulation against Finland, and we would need to beat Sweden. What's also funny is we could just keep Canada out of the fucking championship if we want.
Yeah.
Which would be pretty cool.
That would be sick.
We could just choose to lose and keep them out of it, which would make Canada even more mad.
It's also very funny that this is all, I guess not like funny, but ironic funny that this is all going on at the same time where there's a little bit of like world global conflict with the U.S. and Canada, and Trump wants to make that the 51st state, or like what people are calling it, like North Montana. Like, I mean, it's kind of a crazy time that happened. Now they booed the anthem. Obviously, that probably has something to do with some of the political stuff and climate that's gone on. And then, boom, we're throwing hands 2 seconds into this game. It's kind of funny.
I love Sidney Crosby has this great undefeated streak, one of the greatest players of all time.
We talked about that Friday.
We did talk about it Friday. 2 of the goals for the Americans coming off the stick of Jake Gensel, his former teammate in Pittsburgh, who had a great year last year after getting dealt at the deadline to Carolina. Just so cool for me to see. And everyone, and the best part, these Canadians just flooding to Twitter right away like, oh, we didn't have Cale Makar. We didn't have our best defenseman. We're going to see you guys on Tuesday. The Americans' best defenseman, Quinn Hughes, hasn't played one lick of a second this whole entire tournament, and we're still in first place by 4 points. You love it.
So these guys, I imagine after this, the Four Nations Faceoff wraps up, they're going to go to the Oval Office like all the other sports teams do when they win a national championship, right? Or a Super Bowl?
I don't know. I mean, they also, their
gotta
season...
imagine
if USA
Trump's
wins,
going to get posted up with the...
You would think. But I mean, they also...
brothers.
If they win Tuesday, the regular season starts back up on Thursday, so it's a really quick turnaround. And that's the other cool
Trump
thing
might
too.
have to go to them, man.
He might have to go to them. They're also going to be in. They're going to be dispersed back to their teams, so it'll be weird. But maybe he'll be at the game. Maybe 'cause
Yeah,
it's in
go to the
America.
final.
The
It's in
championship will be in Boston.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just creates this weird thing now. Because do you think we're going to boo back on Tuesday if we play them?
For sure.
I
If
think it's going to be a chorus of boos.
Yes, if I know anything about the American people, we're a petty bunch.
Oh, very, very true.
Yeah.
Very petty. All right, Jack, Sweden's up next. That's
Yep.
tonight.
Mhm.
What do we need to know? Is this a USA dub?
That's really interesting. So Matthew Tkachuk, who I was talking about a lot, who was the star player of the Florida Panthers for their cup run and win last year, he got hurt. He hurt his groin area in that game, so we don't know if he's going to play or not. Smart money would tell you that he's probably going to sit out and get ready for the championship game because it's going to be Sweden again if it's not Canada. So it's also like you're getting that back-to-back look at them. But I don't know, man. Sweden's a really tough team. They have a great D-core, which is kind of odd because you're not looking at them for their forward group. Like when you played Finland has really good forwards and had kind of a shittier defensive core. So like it's a different attack when you're looking at a team who has a great core defenseman like Sweden. UC Saros, their goalie, is one of the best in the league. It's kind of cool to see him play in international competition because his normal team is the Nashville Predators, who aren't that good. So he kind of just gets shelled, so you can't really see how good he is every single night. But when he's getting a more controlled balance of shots, you see how awesome he is. So I'm not going to go out there and say it's going to be a win for sure because we might be sitting guys, and you don't know. Maybe we just want to keep Canada out of the championship. So we'll sit everyone and wait and play Sweden. But I don't know. I would say it's going to come down to the forwards. And the most important thing to look at for more casual American fans is our 2 best players, I would argue, are Austin Matthews, the captain, and Jack Eichel, who's the center on that first line. And neither of them have really even showed up yet. Like Canada got a McDavid goal. Their big guns showed up. Our 2 best players haven't even really come to play yet. So a lot of the world is still open for the American side.
Well, that'd be very awesome and petty if we lost on purpose to let Canada out. That'd be funny. All right, we got to take another break. When we get back, the Cleveland Rockers reportedly will be back in 2028. Nick, you had a tweet that you went back to yesterday that I thought was a very interesting, unique, smart thought that has to do with Caitlin Clark. We'll talk about that and more when we get back here on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. We're flipping it over to the WNBA. The Cleveland Rockers reportedly are set to be the WNBA's 16th expansion team. That's according to Sports Business Journal's Tom Friend. The Cleveland Rockers, 1998 to 2003. They will be back in 2028. I'm excited. I'll be real. Caitlin Clark obviously has made me watch the WNBA. She's made me watch the NCAA women's side. And she has been one of the most iconic global, really, superstars in the last 2 years, right? Like, she's been everywhere. Yep. And, Nick, you had a thought about Caitlin Clark relating to the year 2028, the year the Rockers are going to come back.
So I put this tweet out actually in November 20th, 2024. that was when, remember, Dan Gilbert submitted the bid to potentially get a WNBA team here in Cleveland. And that just says that, it's going to take some time. WNBA team in Cleveland wouldn't be here until around 2028. That's right when Caitlin Clark's rookie contract is expiring. If we know anything about Dan Gilbert, he's a guy that's not afraid to pay a little bit of money. He's a guy that likes the big star. We've seen that throughout his tenure as president or whatever you're supposed to say, not owner of the Cavs. Governor. Yeah, that's it.
That sounds a lot.
So
better.
I don't know. Start the new, or buy the news, sell the rumor, or whatever they say. Caitlin Clark coming to Cleveland, 2028.
I'm excited. I wish I knew more about the potential rookies, but I mean, I don't know. A lot of people do. So
especially in 2028.
Yeah, so they might not even be in school yet. Right?
No, they're not even in college.
Correct.
Right
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
we need to start scouting the high school ranks.
I would
to
have
see who the
loved
chosen
if
one
we
is.
could have got Paige Beckers. Like
This
if we were
year,
early.
yeah.
If we would have got Paige Beckers, that'd
What
be
if we got
sick.
Haley Van Lith?
Do we get the first pick as an expansion team?
No.
Is that how that works?
But there will be an expansion draft,
Yeah.
so we'll be allowed to kind of cherry pick some women off of other rosters. I'm blanking on the girl's name right now. She went to the A's. Kate Martin, who played with Caitlin Clark at Iowa. She was kind of like the pesky defender, and like she was a big fan favorite at Iowa.
Yeah.
She got drafted by the Aces, and has had like a pretty solid like first rookie year there. But then the expansion draft of the teams that are just coming in, like I saw the Valkyries, who were like the San Francisco new team. They took Kate Martin away from the Aces. So like the Rockers will have an opportunity to poach some pretty decent players through the expansion draft.
Can I spins on this?
Kate Martin is now a Valkyrie.
So everyone's talking about Caitlin Clark to Cleveland, and rightfully so, the best player in the damn sport. But let's say that theoretically the Indiana Fever go on a little run here the next 3 or 4 years, get, let's say, 2 titles with Caitlin Clark. She's not going to want to leave, and every story has a hero and a villain, and that's what makes things interesting in life.
I know where he's going.
What if we sign Angel Reese, put on the black hat of the WNBA, we become the bad guys, and we go out there, and like, let's just be the villains of the WNBA. Let's form a goddamn super team. Hannah Hidalgo, I want you in Cleveland. Olivia Miles, I want you in Cleveland. Juju Watkins, I want you in Cleveland.
Haley
Angel
Van
Reese in Cleveland.
Haley
Paige
Van
Buchers,
Lith.
Haley Van Lith. I want like the event. No, give me the fucking Cavender girls too. I want the Avengers.
Come on now,
yes,
Carson
I
Beck.
want the Avengers. Like I want this evil superheroes of the WNBA, and I want to win every year and go to that parade and get hammered for my Cleveland Rockers. Let's have fun, Cleveland.
Wow, I just felt the electricity
Yeah?
from that.
I
I would
see that.
fucking love that.
Angel Reese, baby.
That would be crazy.
You ready to learn Cleveland?
Wow. Okay, that would be awesome. Jack, SNL50, that was last night.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a lick of it. I'll be honest. I probably should have because it was way more entertaining, I'm assuming, than the NBA All-Star joke, whatever that was.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Gosh, I mean, oh my God. I really enjoyed the show from the parts that I saw, so I'm going to probably nerd out here for a couple seconds. But the Adam Sandler song that he did about 50 years of SNL, where he went through like everyone at the end, like the mention of Chris Farley and Norm Macdonald was really cool since they both passed away. Obviously, like that song's probably going to be the iconic takeaway of the show, I think it's fair to say. But so many good segments, and I'm just a huge Eddie Murphy fan too. So like anything he's doing, I think is just so funny. The Black Jeopardy skit where he was Tracy Morgan right next to Tracy Morgan
Jeopardy.
was hilarious. I mean, yeah, that's always a hit. I mean, anything. If Kenan Thompson is in an SNL segment, it's hilarious. Like Kenan Thompson is one of my goats of SNL. I would also say the Scared Straight sketch that him and Eddie Murphy did together was awesome. But yeah, there's just so many good moments that came out of the show. Bill Murray as well, doing his power rankings of the cast numbers
yeah.
in the Weekend Update,
Yeah, I saw that.
putting himself at the top. Like there was a lot of just cool moments. And when you look back at SNL, it's a show that obviously it's not in its golden age anymore, but you're looking at all the stars that went through the building, all the crazy musical performances that have come out over the years. They did a great job, I would say, of just kind of meshing it all together and giving out one beautiful night. Like I remember watching the 40th show live 10 years ago, and that was pretty cool, but I thought this blew it out of the water.
Who was the musical guest?
It was all over, but I mean,
Okay.
you got Sabrina had a couple of performances in there as well. But I mean, it's also, they just had so many different people perform. There was it wasn't the night up. I don't know if you guys saw it. Post Malone did some Nirvana
Yeah, that was-
Yeah, I saw
covers
that.
on, I believe it was Saturday for the concert that night. And it was pretty good, I thought. Like it's hard to replicate Kurt Cobain, and without getting too deep into that lore as well, like obviously anyone who's heard Nirvana live before knows it's not very similar to Nirvana what you're hearing playing in the car. So a lot of people kind of shit on Post Malone, but I thought he was excellent for like replicating what Kurt Cobain actually did. But I think hockey is the biggest winner of the weekend because hockey gets about one chance every 10 years to win a weekend.
Yeah.
And then I would put SNL right behind it at number 2. And then I would put a bunch of space bars, a return bar. I would put Joshua Block getting freed from Japan at about 15th for winners of the weekend. And then Adam Silver in the NBA probably coming in around that 19th slot.
Yeah, Joshua Block, friend of pro. We've had a lot of World of T-shirts talk on here, but we had talked a little bit Friday that like, what was our guy gonna be okay in Japan? And the short answer to that was no.
Yeah, we said on the show, Josh, you cannot fuck around overseas. You will find out very quickly.
I do want to put the clip out. But there was, I believe we actually opened the show Friday with 2 minutes just predicting this happening.
Yeah.
But guys, so for those listening at home, like driving home from work, like I pull into the driveway of my house, like about to Friday's done, whatever, get a group FaceTime call from Ryan. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? Like, it's got to be something big. Ryan doesn't rip out the group FaceTime calls often. And Ryan answers the call. Ryan's like, oh, guys, we're fucked. It's over. We're fucked. It's done. I'm like, what? Like, what did we say? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't think we said anything cancelable on the show. And he's like, Joshua Block got detained. And I was like, no.
I'm telling you, man.
Luckily, the captain did make it out from Japan.
What did he do? He yelled at somebody. He said he was going to kill somebody.
Said he was going to kill somebody.
Josh, man, you got to be smarter than that. And that's on Quinn, Mr. Bass, whoever's with him, right?
Mayor Flanagan. I mean, yeah.
Here's the thing. He's in Tokyo by himself.
Is he? Who let him do that?
So then that's the bigger.
He went completely by himself.
When he goes to these places, yeah, I think he's rolling independent.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is just such a.
So
that's not good.
I saw a TikTok that said he's supposed to come home Tuesday. So hopefully all goes well. Hopefully we could get him back through customs and World of T-shirts could stay on American soil.
Who do we think Josh Block's?
We got to get him on the show.
We
got to get T-shirts on the show.
We do. Who do you guys think his first phone call is when he gets arrested? Mr. Bass?
I don't know.
Quinn? Or it'd have to be Quinn. Or if he has like a deeper team around him than we would think, then I would think that they probably handle those kind of issues.
What if it was just Danny Duncan? Because they did that collab like what was that? Probably like a month ago now. He just calls Danny Duncan.
He just gets him out.
I'm in jail in Japan.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that phone call. How much yen did it cost to bail him out? I wonder.
Probably a lot.
They said so. Like some bystanders,
wasn't it not a ton?
Some bystanders just smooth talked him out of it. Is really what it was. Yeah, it was like he flew over here by himself. He has special needs. Like
that's cool.
A couple of bystanders that like knew who he was because of his TikTok. Like were actually able to talk to the Japanese authorities in Japanese.
That is true.
Because that's another layer of it too.
God, yeah.
Is that like you're in a foreign country, you don't speak the language.
You're
getting accused of threatening murder. Like that's a massive thing to happen, but then also there's a language barrier built in on top of it. So thankfully there were some standers by that were like, yo, like this guy like doesn't speak the language, like didn't actually mean it, has no means of actually doing anything. So I mean,
it's also like he's not the United States of T-shirts, folks. I mean, he is world of T-shirts. Like he's gonna have people to help him out wherever he is. That's the biggest thing you can take away from it.
Yeah. All right, we got to take one more break when we get back. What the fuck is that? Jack, you have a video we're going to talk about. I also want to bring up another story that we wrap this up. Something going on in Ohio that's going to affect us, especially Jack. Yeah. You'll know why when I come back.
Where this is going.
All right, we'll see you on the other side.
I'll be good.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Big Factor on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Pidone. Welcome to What the Fuck Is That, Jack? This is courtesy of you.
What the fuck is that?
You had a video for us, right?
Yes. I saw this video on the internet, and I thought, how could we not talk about this on the Big Factor? Because there are so many elements in these 9 seconds to discuss.
So it's a horse.
This guy stole a horse.
Oh yeah, that's his teammate.
Oh. Oh.
This guy stole a horse
And then
and
got
tried to
thrown
get away
off.
from police cars on horseback, on cavalry.
So is it confirmed he stole a horse,
Yes.
or is that a cop?
No, he stole the horse.
Oh, did he hit the sign?
He tried to. He hits the sign and flips backwards. Watch this shit. Wait.
This is like me at the Donkey Derby.
That's his teammate.
Oh.
And he goes over the back.
How about the lady recording this?
Yeah, good for
Yeah.
her. Hand is straight as an arrow too.
Unless she goes, oh, as soon as he hits it, listen to her.
Oh yeah, that's his teammate.
Oh, immediately stops recording.
Dun, 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 dun.
Great video, Jack.
Yeah,
Oh.
guys, how do you try and get away from the police who have actual cars with lots of horsepower in them?
You go off road.
Like that. You know, that's grand theft to steal, like.
They're expensive.
Yeah. Same with, like, if you steal an expensive enough dog, like, that's it for you. That's a felony. Like, that's grand theft.
No, you
So,
can't be fucking around with that stuff. Like
No.
Prison Break. Have either of you seen that?
Yeah.
I've seen parts, not the whole show.
Tweener, this white
Same.
kid that goes to jail, prison, he said he stole like a baseball card. He didn't think it was really much, and it turns out to be like a one-of-one Onus Wagner that was worth like $1 million.
wow.
Yeah, it's not the
Yeah.
same as card
So
ever.
he went
so.
to
Yeah.
federal prison for that. Like just petty, what could have been petty theft based on the card. Bro's
Yeah.
in federal prison.
Yeah, you can't be messing around with that. And also, too, why would you mess around with a horse, period? Like, that thing
needs to control.
Had they not hit the sign, like, it was definitely getting bucked off one way or another. Like,
And, like-
one way or another, that was always going to end poorly. And really how that ends is you go to the hospital and you're cuffed to your little hospital bed. And then when you get out, you're going right to jail. So.
I mean, assuming also this person doesn't know how to control a horse, which is, I would assume, the likely scenario, considering he just got his head almost decapitated by a
He was
sign.
flying.
There's a 1 in 2 chance he can't control that horse. That horse turns left, and you meet your end another way too, which probably would hurt a lot more than that too. I just don't understand how you try and get away from the police on a horse, though. I think that's one of the worst ideas ever. Like that, there was no way he was ever getting away, was there?
No. If any, you got a better chance. I would venture to guess you have a better chance on foot than you do on horseback.
Oh yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Because on foot you could control it. You could bring out some jukes if they start getting close. But like,
Click L1 on him.
yeah,
Circle,
but,
spin.
But on horse, you're relying on a wild animal to steer you the right way.
I wish we had our good friend Ryan Stillman from Talking Trek here to discuss.
He could have
because
broke down the.
I feel like he would.
Form.
He could tell me better why anyone would ever consider doing this. You know.
yeah.
Yeah, what breed of horse that it was, what its
Yeah.
ancestors were like.
Would
Yeah.
you guys swipe on that horse though, from what you saw in the minimal few seconds?
I would swipe right.
I would.
I would.
It gave the guy a chance.
It did. It gave the guy.
know,
That's
it
the
was-
one
it was-
thing.
it was user
The
error.
one thing no one
It
is
was
talking
user
about,
error.
you know, is that all you can ask for, you know, if you're like a manager in baseball, when you go out there, so you're going to give me 5 innings and 2 runs, you're going to give me a chance to win the ball game. That horse did, in fact, give him a chance to get out of there alive. He just didn't
And
follow
then the
through.
properties of matter, I mean, were on display there too. There was a lot of inertia there as well of, you know, objects in motion will remain in motion.
Yep.
And he remained in motion.
Newton's law.
Unless acted upon by an outside factor. And the outside factor was, in this case, the sign. And
So
he
can
hit the
you-
sign, and that was the end of it. But I think he would have remained in motion as long as that horse would have remained in motion. So yeah, the horse gave him a chance.
You also got to think, though, so imagine where your head is at after you steal a fucking equestrian in the first place. I mean, you stole a horse, you know, so your head's got to be somewhere odd in the first place. And then
Adrenaline
if your adrenaline's pumping, you don't know how to stop said horse. And you see yourself coming for a one-on-one date with trucks under 2 tons have to stay off the highway sign,
I imagine
you're in trouble.
I imagine your head is on the side of the highway, decapitated from your body after hitting it. With the
He was
sign.
close. That's got to be a concussion, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I mean, I don't even know if a guardian cap is saving him in that
No
scenario.
way. No way.
No, they're not. Well, speaking of breaking the law, guys, before we get out of here, an Ohio draft bill is planning to fine men who ejaculate, quote, without the intent of conception, up to $10,000 per nut, guys. This is ejaculating without intent draft. Blah, 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 blah. Quote, men have the same rights no matter where they go in this country. Women's rights depend on where they live. The point of this bill isn't to get it passed. It's to call out hypocrisy. Republican representative call it a mockery of the most basic biological concepts. Can you imagine a world where you're fined $10,000 every time you just jerk?
I mean, like, just imagine coming into work and being like, guys, I got an EWI last night. You know, that's $10,000. You know, like this isn't a good world to live in.
This will never ever see the light of day. Whatever politician that's a far right wing politician that's pandering to the Bible thumpers out there, just trying to make a name for themselves. This is disgusting. This is what this is, and this is, like, not to get political with it, this is a gigantic waste of our state tax dollars. The fact that we employ these clowns that sat around a room and talked about this and wrote it down, and now they're gonna debate whether they sign it or whatever. This is a magnum waste of everyone's time, energy, effort, but most importantly, all of our money.
Could you imagine if we spent state funding
This
on a
is
friggin'
never
right
going
fielder?
anywhere.
You know, like there's so many other things we could do with this money to help out the great state of Ohio. Like, we need a starting catcher. We could use some help for Bieber, of guys who are healthy and we know can pitch. I mean, John Means is awesome, but he's not going to pitch this year. Get rid of the EJI build. Maybe we have Jack Flaherty instead as our 2.
Some guy that's living in a cornfield that wants to make a name for himself in the world of politics.
How
puts
would
this
you go?
Hey, look what I did at work today.
How would you go about policing this?
There's no way.
It's impossible.
It's
impossible
Come
to
in,
police.
find your Kleenex.
Unless
your
we go
towel.
1984 and just put cameras on the wall in every single room in America.
So my question is,
People will still find a way.
can you just edge for hours and until you finish? You know what I mean? Like,
And then just
If you
10,000
actually don't
just
finish?
make the $10,000.
Or what if you're
Well,
shooting-
that's
what
also
if-
you're also
what if
looking at a
you're
$10,000 mistake. Then
what if
you
you're
know?
shooting blanks?
This will never.
I don't think we're gonna get to
There's
a
so
world.
many questions. What about people that are married that have already had kids and they're
Yeah.
like they're done having kids? Like, also too, the I guess benefactor of this would be like vasectomy clinics. Like obviously.
They gotta be pumping money into them, probably.
Yeah,
that's why.
that's your big, so like it wouldn't surprise me if there was like some backdoor lobbying going on. Like that's why like this, like they people want to complain about, who the president is, and people want to get political about every little issue. The issues run so much deeper than this. The fact that like these are actual state government employees that are wasting all of our time and money putting something like this together, like it just nauseates me.
This is what's that one show where it's like a society? I'm trying to think of the right word.
Duck Dynasty.
No, not quite Duck Dynasty. The Scarlet. No, not the Scarlet. Basically, they take all the women, they put them in like basically camps, and you can't like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? The Handmaid's Tale. Handmaid's Tale. That's
Yeah,
basically
okay,
kind of
yeah,
what
yeah.
this sounds like. Some futuristic, no nutting society. I don't know. Jack,
Never will happen. I think about it. Since biblical times, actually, since BC, people were up to this.
I mean,
People were stroking.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs were up to it 2
Cranking
billion
their
years
snake.
ago. Yeah.
yeah. While we were all, monkeys, this was going
They were
on.
spanking the monkey.
Yeah. Like before the English language was even developed, this was going on. Like that.
Before Terry Francona was using Brian Shaw.
This is going. This is going
Or
nowhere.
Terry Francona was on LinkedIn. We gotta
Yeah.
go. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Huge thank you to Garage Beer. Huge thank you to Fairway Forward. We'll be back tomorrow on The Big Factor. Same people, same time. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. We'll catch you on a Taco Tuesday. See ya.